I see some of the weirdest shit, like, oh, Aki was in a video with that person, she didn't look very happy, or like, did you see the way that they like looked at that other person, or the way that like Joey just like did this to his nose? Who the fuck cares?
Was
like
it your video I was in where I was just being me and letting you guys talk?
Yeah, all the comments are like, man, Connor looks really annoyed. I'm like,
maybe
that was just him.
Maybe Connor has the same problem I do, which is we just have really bad resting
really
bitch
bad
face.
resting bitch face.
Me
People
too.
think I'm angry all the time. I'm just British.
Look, I enjoy analyzing people as much as the next guy. In fact, every week I go people watching at the park with a group where we point out people we think look interesting. Oh, look at that one. So I can understand the appeal of trying to decipher body language. But over the many years I've spent not touching grass, I've come across so many bad body language reads on the internet that I can't take it anymore. I gotta call this shit out or I'm gonna lose my mind. So in this very angry episode of my series, Talking Topics, I'm gonna talk about some of the examples that steam my beans the most. Some of these are many years old at this point. I know I'm late to the party here. I tend to be late to stuff, but I still see this stuff get brought up to this day. First off is Millie Bobby Brown. The Stranger Things cast has received quite a bit of behavior analysis over the years on the internet, with Millie Bobby Brown getting by far the most amount of scrutiny. This led to a pretty intense whirlwind of hate towards her, bolstered by unsubstantiated rumors that she was a diva behind the scenes and her co-stars secretly didn't like her. First, there were comments in comment sections claiming that the other Stranger Things cast members were visibly annoyed by her in interviews. The cast hates Millie, you can tell. Literally everyone is highly annoyed with Millie except Gaten. I really think Finn hates Millie. Finn seems so annoyed by Millie. Finn and Sadie hate Millie. And then that gave way to a whole smear campaign of videos supposedly showcasing Millie's problematic behavior in interviews, and these clips have been used endlessly as quote-unquote proof that she's unlikable and hated by her co-stars.
We're going to take a look at what Millie Bobby Brown is really like when the cameras are turned off.
And to do that, we're gonna talk about things she did while the cameras were turned on. Some of the most oft-cited examples are these cast interviews where people claimed that Finn Wolfhard was acting annoyed by Millie because he's fidgeting a lot and making faces while she's talking. I think maybe at those times there's a prop between Millie and Finn, because look closer and attentively to their body language. They're avoiding eye contact. Finn is so annoyed by Millie. When Millie came, Finn looked annoyed. A video of this was made adding text to editorialize his body language and facial expressions. Now personally, I don't read any of Finn's body language as annoyance or hostility, but hey, that's just my interpretation versus somebody else's interpretation, right? So allow me to make a case for there not being any bad blood between Finn and Millie in these clips. In another interview from this same event, Finn is acting fidgety even when Millie isn't talking, and it's so noticeable that Gaten Matarazzo points it out.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm excited, dude.
He also exhibits similarly uncomfortable looking body language when Millie isn't even there, like shaking his pants up and down and turning away from the conversation. Also, there are other videos showing Finn and Millie seemingly getting along just fine at these same events. I mean, you could cherry pick other moments from the same days and present them as a compilation of Finn and Millie being friends with each other. So whatever's going on with Finn here doesn't seem to be about Millie. Hey, you know what it might be? It might just be that Finn has nerves because he's at big events like Comic-Con where he has to get up on stage in front of thousands of people. One of the most common complaints about Millie was that she interrupted her co-stars too much and talked too much, and they were visibly annoyed by it. Millie loves interrupting people. Millie talks too much, you can tell they're annoyed. 3953 has me laughing. They hate it when Millie speaks. They look like they've had enough of 11 taking over the conversation.
Millie Bobby Brown can't stop interrupting her co-stars in interviews.
There are multiple videos on the internet showing the teenage actress talking over or interrupting the other cast members of Stranger Things. She often cuts off co-actor Sadie Sink in interviews. This reached the point where at one interview, another one of the show's stars had to ask,
Sadie, do you want to talk?
And like, yeah, she would interrupt sometimes, and you could argue that's a little rude, but that's just the nature of group conversations, especially among friends. There's a lot of talking over each other. Sadie interrupts Millie.
I was like, come on.
And I was like sweaty.
She's fine.
Also, the other cast members talk over each other all the time.
Just for everyone to know.
I said it's dark and not for the faint of heart.
B-U-L-L-S.
Let Caleb go. Let's hear it.
Okay. Hey guys, do you see Caleb here? Let me talk, guys. Sorry, Caleb.
Did you whiners notice that? Or was your vision blocked by your raging hate boner for this girl? I didn't notice Millie interrupting more than the others, and she isn't even always the most talkative person. So no, I don't buy this narrative that her co-stars were acting visibly annoyed by her, or that she's being particularly rude or mean in these interviews. Also, some of the specific details of the accusations are totally misrepresented. weird. This moment is framed as Caleb asking Sadie if she wants to talk because Millie had been talking over her.
Millie Bobby Brown again does her hobby, interrupting her BFF. This didn't go unnoticed by Caleb McLaughlin.
He kind of called out Millie and asked Sadie if she wanted to say anything.
Sadie, do you want to talk?
But I watched this whole interview and that's not what happened. The context here is that Caleb asked Sadie to speak because she hadn't talked for the prior 20 minutes while everyone else was yapping away, and the interview was about to end.
Something like malnutrition.
Not use your powers.
Sadie, do you want to talk?
Yeah.
The true part is that Millie then does interrupt Sadie, which, okay, is kind of rude because Sadie was specifically asked to speak, but that literally is like the worst thing I've ever seen Millie do in an interview. Also, I feel like it's worth noting that Millie is best friends with Noah Schnapp and Sadie Sink. I find it hard to believe that she doesn't get along with her co-stars if two of them became her best friends. Also, she was a kid. She was 13 years old in some of these interviews. She was barely a teenager. She put herself out there to be judged in front of the whole world, and honestly, I think she came across very well. You're gonna come after her for a few moments of being slightly rude? What were you doing at 13? Humping a pillow in your bedroom? So she interrupted people sometimes? So what? Sometimes kids interrupt people. Welcome to Earth. Grab a fucking brochure. The amount of hate she had to put up with at that time over the pettiest stuff was unbelievable.
Millie Bobby Brown's unexpected rude behavior with Stephen Colbert.
I'll write this down.
Did you just lick your pen?
I licked it.
Oh, wow.
It was generally a pretty awkward position for Millie to put him in.
Seriously? This is reaching bitch-eating crackers levels of petty, dude. Millie Bobby Brown goes by 3 names, which people say is quite similar to someone else. Osama bin Laden, from 9/11. I couldn't find any credible accusations against her that would actually matter. The most problematic things I've seen about her are her questionable relationships with older dudes, which I don't see her being to blame for. And you know what? I had developed a negative impression of Millie Bobby Brown without ever really looking into her. I never watched any of these hate videos, but I guess there was just so much general negativity surrounding her on the internet that I just assumed there must be some truth to it. I thought where there's smoke, there's fire, right? But what I didn't consider was that it wasn't Millie who was on fire. It was Pants. Pants of the people who made these smear videos, because they were liars. The more I've looked into her, the more it seems like she's actually a nice, sweet person, or at least she was back when this hate campaign really started ramping up. In fact, there was even an actor who worked with her who made a YouTube video just to say that she was nice and easy to work with.
I expected her to be arrogant and was actually surprised by how incredibly humble and kind she was, not only to me, but everyone else on set. She went out of her way to remember my name, and she did that with everybody, all of the crew members.
So you know what? Shame on me for buying into the Millie Bobby Brown smear campaign. Shame on me. I should be spanked. You know what? Here, I'll spank myself. Shame on me. The comments analyzing the cast's body language aren't always attacks. That's just the worst part of it. Millie's behavior and the cast behavior towards her gets interpreted in all kinds of ways. I love Millie, but she appears to be so disinterested, unhappy, almost angry. Why do they look so unhappy, especially Millie? Do Finn and Millie still like each other? I'm sensing tension. 346, look at Millie how she is looking at Finn. She definitely loved Finn. One video created the narrative that Millie was having an anxiety attack during an interview, again based on nothing but body language as far as I can tell. Sometimes the same moment gets interpreted in totally different ways. Noah loves Millie because in 252, he was trying to hold her hand. 251, look at her hands, poor Millie, she's having an anxiety attack. And see how Noah tried to help her? I can see that in her faces. And although Millie receives the brunt of it, the body language analysis isn't always focused on her. The other cast gets some of it too. Why do they all look so annoyed and angry? For some reason, I feel like everyone is just annoyed with Sadie. The way Finn look at Sadie, it is something. Ain't nobody gonna talk about how Finn looks at Noah and it's kinda sus? What does that even mean? Is it just me, or is there tension between Millie and Sadie? And Caleb? I don't know how much this is still a thing now that the cast is older, but man, people loved analyzing their nonverbal behavior when they were younger, and the conclusions viewers would jump to over the littlest things were insane. Speaking of which, if I see one more f***ing person bring up these Brie Larson interviews as proof that her Avengers co-stars didn't like her, I'm gonna take a dump on my neighbor's dog. Basically, a few years ago, Brie Larson did an interview alongside Chris Hemsworth and Don Cheadle at a point in time when an internet hate train against her was running full steam ahead. And as a result, this interview, which I always thought was a perfectly normal and amusing interview, was spun into some awkward, tension-filled train wreck where Brie's co-stars were visibly put off by her. This is 6 years old at this point, and I still see people reference this like it's a smoking gun of Brie Larson's unlikability. The moments that generated the most discussion were Brie elbowing Don and him pulling away.
Brie's behavior during interviews made her co-stars feel quite uncomfortable. Right, guys? Isn't it fun being there for all my extra takes?
He brings his arm up like away from her and don't touch me. But he's being serious about it, but it's ha ha ha.
Brie bragging about doing her own stunts after Chris said he had a stunt double.
He does all the hard stuff and makes me look cool.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did. And
without anything over the top, without playing a character, she appears sincere in her attempt to call positive attention to herself, and it doesn't play well. And now defensive Chris pokes her back.
You ever had Tom Cruise over here?
No, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Don saying they don't like Brie.
And there's a real, I think, affection among the cast members, except for...
No, this is terrible.
And there you have it. Brie Larson basically admits to the confrontation between her and Don Cheadle. And Don Cheadle obviously, egging her on.
Bickering with Chris about whose character is stronger.
She repeatedly tried to make herself look better than the others.
There's no competition for me because I'm the strongest. It's just a fact. It's not a personal opinion.
And saying that she and Chris are having a fight.
Should we have a fight?
And she can eat bacon.
I feel like we're fighting right now. I think it's been an all-day thing.
I suspect that is a real representation of her feelings. She probably does feel like these exchanges are fights.
The overall spin on this was that there was real hostility, or at least annoyance, between Brie and the other two.
I pick up that they are just not having it at all.
He does not want to be there at all. Neither does Don Cheadle. It is clearly uncomfortable. They clearly don't like her.
Now this steams my beans, perhaps more than anything else I talk about in this video, because to me, it seems very, very clear that they're just bantering with each other, even without any context. Hell, even without audio. I sense no bad vibes in this interview. But again, that's just my interpretation, right? So let me once again make my case for it. Looking at other moments from that same day, including from that same interview, we can see the three of them laughing and smiling with each other a lot. The vibes feel positive, the body language looks friendly and happy, no hint of animosity. It just looks like people having a good time with each other.
We're playing Boggle, I don't...
There's even a moment where Brie elbows Don again and he doesn't pull away. Also, Don specifically says they're hazing Brie because she's a newcomer to the Avengers cast.
There was definitely a hazing period.
I think I'm still in it.
She's still in it.
And the more interviews you watch from that time, the more it becomes clear that several of the Marvel cast members are basically doing the same bit, where they either pretend to be full of themselves.
Which word would your closest friends use to describe you?
The most hilarious human. That doesn't seem to be a box.
Let's see that in here.
What would you say is your personal character flaw?
Where's none?
Or they act like they hate each other.
We kind of also seek each other.
What will you guys miss the most about being together with this cast?
Probably craft services.
How did this Tom Holland rivalry begin?
The kid's a problem. All right, the kid's a problem.
How about what was it like welcoming the new cast? We just didn't talk to them.
There's only enough room for so many superheroes. Take a hike.
Beat it.
Who's the biggest troublemaker on set?
Chris Evans.
That was good, yeah.
And now he's out.
Thank God.
Apparently.
Please.
No, he just likes to.
Also, when these three do drop the bit and get serious, they say nice things about each other.
It was great to have her come in, obviously. Professionalism, breath of fresh air.
The Marvel legacy that they've created, what these guys have done before I even showed up.
And to top it all off, Don Cheadle posted tweets refuting all of this crazy speculation back when he still had a Twitter account. I mean, why would he do that if he really hated Brie? Look, dude, teasing, giving a hard time, bickering, acting like you hate each other, that's like a love language for some people. It's a bit they do exclusively with people they like and feel comfortable with.
You're a shit talker. To me, that's what intimacy is when you can like shit talk your friends.
You can see other celebrities doing it too. Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart's whole shtick is they act like they hate each other.
Complete Dwayne's Twitter bio. Chivalrous gentleman, just add...
dickhead. Complete Kevin's Twitter bio. My name is Kevin Hart, and I
am a piece of shit.
What? Come on.
Dwayne did the same thing with Emily Blunt on the press tour for a movie that he specifically requested her to be in.
I played Dr. Lily Houghton.
Who gives a And I'm Dwayne Johnson.
Explain this dynamic I've been seeing all morning.
Listen.
It's called hate.
That's that what it is?
Yes. We're riddled with loathing, most of the time to be in each other's company.
Sabrina Carpenter and her best friend Joey King show affection by being mean to each other.
Her and I, we've been friends for so long. That's like our love language, is like who can be the meanest.
Conan does it with his podcast co-hosts.
You both suck.
You suck. You said I was the dumbest person you ever met.
A few years ago, Jake Gyllenhaal pretended that he and Ryan Reynolds were feuding over an Instagram post, even though they were close friends.
We know you have an ongoing feud with Ryan. What's it gonna take for him to actually be BFFs with you?
There was a time in which we were.
Any words for Ryan, seeing as the next time we talk to him, he will be seeing that?
I have nothing to say to him.
And of course, a bunch of people misinterpreted that as being serious too. The way Jake G said, "I have nothing to say to him," tells me all I need to know. When he said, "I have nothing to say to him," I felt that. He was not playing around. You can tell in his eyes. Facial expressions said it all. Look, fake hate is just a type of affection for some people. And I think it's clear that Brie, Chris, and Don were just doing that.
Brie, what was it like joining this group, this universe?
I love that. Just go to the next one.
I'm not saying anyone has to be on board with that stuff personally. Different people are comfortable with different degrees of it. For me, I enjoy lighthearted razzing and teasing, but if someone I was close with said something mean to me, tears. But I understand not everyone is like me. They're just on a different wavelength. I can recognize that. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to feel about Brie Larson. If someone doesn't like her personally, I don't care. This isn't about Brie Larson. This is about understanding human behavior. Even without hearing what they're saying, their body language is so over the top. This is like Disney Channel sitcom levels of overacting for comedic effect. You really think Don Cheadle is unironically doing this? They are doing a bit. And that's obvious. And that's obvious. And that's obvious. I feel almost silly pointing this stuff out. I feel like I'm showing a picture of a cow and going, okay, now let me tell you why I think this is a cow. Number 1, udders. And of course, there's a million comments pushing the narrative that this interview was hostile and uncomfortable. Even on the original unedited interview. I mean, it's one thing to view it that way when it's cut up into little pieces with a commentator spinning every moment into something negative, but I can't believe people watched the original unedited interview and couldn't see that everyone was obviously getting along just fine. What, am I taking crazy pills? No, I ran out of crazy pills 3 weeks ago, so it's not that. Look, again, I don't care if anyone dislikes Brie Larson, but to me, this interview is not proof that any of her co-stars dislike her or are annoyed by her. That's just reading way too much into things. Some of the analysis was absurd.
But her back is straight and her head is up, chin at an angle of domination. I can be just as tall as you. I dominate.
They're demonstrating a solid V shape that demonstrates they're trying to create distance from Brie Larson.
And I can't say with 100% certainty that her co-stars don't hate her behind the scenes. That is a possibility. But in this interview, there ain't shit going on. Full stop, period, end of story, good night. Now, I'm not going to spend the rest of this video on Brie Larson, but I gotta talk about one more interview moment with her that went hate viral. There's a clip with her and Jeremy Renner that's been presented as Jeremy supposedly looking super put off by Brie.
The same thing happened with her other co-stars as well.
And I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but...
It seems like Jeremy Renner is having the worst time ever.
Now, if Jeremy is bothered by something here, I don't think it's Brie. There are other clips from that same day where he seems more positive and warm towards her. If my hunch is correct, and I have a hunch that it is, I think it's way more likely that he's bothered by the interviewer's question. His body language seems to change right after the question is asked before Brie even starts talking.
You guys are world celebrities. Does this position come with a lot of responsibility? Do you look at it that way?
He probably doesn't like the interviewer's suggestion that he bears some big social responsibility just because he's an entertainer. His response to the question is this.
Celebrity is not something that I use as any sort of platform to be more responsible or accountable, I suppose.
But that's only if he's truly feeling bothered in this moment, which he might not be. We don't know for sure what's going on in his head. This isn't a whole lot different from the body language he has in other interviews. You could easily claim he's giving off negative energy in the interviews he's done next to other cast members. He has a dry demeanor sometimes that can come across as stern or aloof.
So I'm very excited to see this movie. Can you see it on my face? This is my excited face.
I can see it.
Body language that looks cold or aggravated on the surface could signify different things. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're hungry, maybe they're neutral, maybe they're bored. Especially when it comes to press junkets, you really have to consider that behavior that comes across as negative energy might just be boredom. Because the way press junkets work is they schedule a bunch of interviews with different media outlets on the same day back to back. So the cast does interview after interview after interview after interview. And they just have to sit there for hours answering the same questions they've been asked 100 times. So, which cast member is most like their character? Is it you, Jeremy? Oh, I bet it's you. Just because they aren't constantly smiling and energetic every second of an interview doesn't automatically mean that someone is in a bad mood or that there's hostility between anyone. It's just the ebbs and flows of social interactions.
Don't do it.
And the thing is, it's easy to make anyone look bad by cherry picking certain video clips and using creative editing. Watch, I'll do it right now with Chris Evans. Did you know that Chris Evans is hated by his co-stars? He loves to do all the talking in interviews while his co-stars have to sit there listening to him prattle on and on. Sometimes they can't even hide their annoyance, and they can't stand his bad attempts at humor. When he makes a joke, they don't even laugh.
Iron Man, God. Anyone who can fly should just be a wide receiver. No, Downey can be a...
Ooh, sorry, Chris. Nobody thinks you're as funny as you do. His relationship with Jeremy Renner is particularly frosty. At one event, Chris is doing his favorite hobby again, talking everybody's ears off, and Jeremy turns to Don Cheadle as if to say, "Can you believe this guy?" In one interview, Jeremy Renner doesn't even look at Chris, despite Chris trying multiple times to make eye contact with him. Renner just keeps staring off into the distance, probably looking for the exit. He can barely contain his hate for Chris, and Don Cheadle doesn't even hide it.
Who's the biggest troublemaker on set?
Chris Evans.
Yeah, it's Evans, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now he's out.
Thank God.
Apparently. No.
Please,
No, he just likes to...
And to top it all off, Chris is a huge narcissist.
What would you say is your personal character flaw?
Where's none?
He literally thinks he has no flaws. Get over yourself, Chris. It's so easy to create the illusion of tension or make someone seem worse than they really are, as long as you have enough video clips to work with.
I think I win that one.
Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, Jason, you make some solid points. You're really smart. Maybe the smartest person alive. And you're cool too. But could that many people really be wrong about what's happening in a video? Well, I'm glad you asked, and thank you. For years now, this viral clip has been presented as this woman turning into a complete horn dog while interviewing this bodybuilder. I remember seeing animated GIFs of this like over a decade ago posted on message boards back when those were still a thing. And it was always presented as like, hey, you want proof that women like guys with huge muscles? Well, here you go. But as it turns out, that's not what's actually happening. The reality is that the bodybuilder was getting emotional talking about his mother's battle with cancer and how she wasn't able to make it to his competition. And the interviewer was getting emotional in response to that.
I was crying on stage. I've been crying off stage. I don't want to cry again. But it's been a long road. My mother was the main influence. She had cancer and she's conquered it. And this win is designated to my mother.
The clip was taken out of context and circulated so much that the bodybuilder himself recently set the record straight, even though it's already clear what's happening if you watch the original video, which I guess nobody bothered to do.
You have a history. She knew you and your wife. What was that whole thing about?
The reason why she got the way she did is because my mother was supposed to be present in the show and she was battling cancer.
Yeah.
She got filled up full of emotion and I was kind of fighting back the tears too. But for the most part, it had nothing to do with anything that it's been spun into. But this is the meme that keeps on living.
So despite the millions of people who thought so, the body language in this clip is not actually a woman getting so turned on that she can barely control herself. Or maybe it is, and she's just really turned on by sad stories.
My mother, she had cancer.
So I think a lot of us could stand to improve our body language reading skills. But what makes that hard is that a lot of the internet's advice on body language, and there's simply no other way to say this, sucks big ol' swingin' horse dong. There's a whole industry of body language pseudoscience, with one of the most popular topics being how to spot a liar. Lie detection is basically its own little niche in the body language analysis world. A lot of suspicious people out there apparently. Or maybe it's poker players trying to improve their poker game. This content promises that just by picking up on a few nonverbal cues, nose. You can basically become a human lie detector.
What if you didn't need a lie detector? What if your knowledge of psychology and human behavior was enough to tell if people were telling the truth?
For example, you can supposedly tell someone is lying if they start grooming. Insert Drake joke here. Avoiding eye contact is also supposedly a big tell.
When you look someone in the eye and they can't bring themselves to look back at you, it's a sign that they're either nervous or they've got something to hide.
Touching the nose.
One of the top lying red flags is touching the nose.
Fidgeting.
When someone is lying, they'll often become nervous, which results in fidgeting, shuffling of the feet, shaking their legs.
Also touching the face, touching the clothes, using a lot of gestures while talking, smiling with their mouth but not their eyes. You know, we need to ask not just what that mouth do, but also what those eyes do. Or those things might not mean they're lying. Fidgeting might just mean that someone doesn't like you. Avoiding eye contact might also mean they don't like you. Or it might mean that they do like you. Grooming might also mean they like you and are flirting with you. Or maybe you don't care about all that. Maybe you want to spot a narcissist, in which case you have to look out for crossed legs with one arm around you, stretching out arms to exert control, hands in pockets and craning their neck, the psychopathic chin rub. I thought this TikTok was satire when I first saw it, but this guy's whole page is content about dealing with narcissists. So unless he's just really committed to the bit, I think it's serious. I mean, no hate to the guy for trying to make content to help people deal with narcissists, but the psychopathic chin rub, dude? I hate that these ideas are being spread because the more pervasive body language pseudoscience becomes, the more potential it has to do harm. Imagine the damage caused by police officers, interrogators, judges, and jurors who use body language pseudoscience to incriminate people. I mean, it's one thing if Boob Lover 69 in the YouTube comment section has a bad read on someone's body language, but that person might be on a jury someday. Enjoy your prison sentence because you scratched your nose too much. There's also a niche of body language analysis videos that focus on dissecting nonverbal behavior from specific people, with analysis that can sometimes be questionable, and it's a pretty thriving niche. These videos can pull in some hefty views. Now, credit where credit is due, some creators in this space are pretty good at emphasizing the limitations of body language analysis.
There isn't a single thing you can see someone do and say to yourself, that person is for sure lying.
But my issue with this content is that sometimes judgment calls about nonverbal behavior are made in a really glib way. It's like this behavior is a sign of X and this behavior is a sign of Y.
But her face reveals her true emotions in a split second.
He does a look up at her, she looks down at him. This is an indicator of the state of their relationship.
See, he closes his eyes again. You'll see this a lot with psychopaths.
And I think one of the causes of that is that some of the audience of this content demands definitive analysis with clear-cut black and white answers. They don't want to hear maybe this body language means this. They want a mind reader. And for creators like this guy with the Observe channel, I can sense that he feels pressure from viewers to give more black and white analysis at the expense of accuracy. How do I know he feels that way? Well, in this video, his eyebrows curve upward at the center of his forehead, which indicates stress and uncertainty. And also, he says it.
People weren't interested in the maybes. They wanted black and white. If the analysis didn't have a concrete or black and white answer, it was seen as pointless or dubbed as being unknowledgeable.
The reality of body language analysis is that it's a very gray area, but a lot of viewers say, I don't care, lie to me, which by the way was a TV show that also perpetuated body language pseudoscience.
Classic one-sided shrug. Translation, I have absolutely no confidence in what I just said. The body contradicts the words.
The truth is, body language doesn't follow a firm set of rules, especially when it comes to lying. According to one famous study, people can only correctly identify liars a little over half the time on average, even if they're experts. And the same physical behaviors can have different meanings. Avoiding eye contact could be a sign of lying, or it could be a sign of shyness, or submissiveness, or nervousness, or the person might just be neurodivergent. Avoiding eye contact is common for people on the autism spectrum. Fidgeting could be a sign of lying, or it could be general anxiety, or pent-up energy, or a symptom of ADHD. It all depends heavily on the individual. There's only a few nonverbal cues that are generally accepted to be universal by professionals. Like there's a handful of facial expressions exhibited by basically everyone, including people who have been blind from birth. Huh, this one says contempt. Isn't that neutral? That's how everybody looks when I'm talking to them. Weird. I don't even care so much that these body language channels occasionally overreach about the specific people they're analyzing. My problem is that viewers watching this content might go, oh, okay, so when somebody does this nonverbal behavior, it's an indicator of this. Society is already judgmental enough. We don't need people accusing each other of being psychopaths because they blinked the wrong way. Here's the thing, you can't not have an interpretation of someone's body language. You're always interpreting someone's behavior behavior subconsciously, even if your interpretation is that they're being neutral. So I'm not saying people shouldn't analyze body language, I just want there to be more body language literacy, and that includes recognizing that sometimes we don't know what's actually going on. If reading through a million comment sections over the years has taught me anything, it's that people are way too quick to read into nonverbal behaviors, especially in a negative way. Hey, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button to join my clubhouse. I'm building a clubhouse for the coolest people on YouTube. I highly suggest you get in now while it's still free, because pretty soon I'm gonna charge exorbitant entrance fees. That's a threat. And also watch this video. Shame on me for buying into the Millie Bobby Brown smear campaign. You know what I want you to do? Will you do something for me? Do me a favor.
Just kick my ass, okay? Enjoy. Come on. I'm not asking, I'm telling with this. Kick my ass.